Hello.
No, it was just one. Okay. If you like, I will speak in Italian. The big majority of the audience is speaking Italian.
I am no techno girl at all. I'm a journalist, though, and I've been a journalist for many years, and I'm a very curious person. Okay, in the last 2 to 4 years, I have been working with a very new paper. A is, in fact, the only weekly publication that offers pages, space on its pages to young Italians who want to share their experience with others. They have the possibility to write about what they did when they went abroad and started some new venture. So thanks to this magazine, I really got in touch with this new generation, and I really think that you are the first generation that can really come to terms in a more systematic and in a more real-time way with what is going on abroad. So in my capacity as just a curious person and a sort of a technology party crasher, I listened carefully to what you said in these 2 days. My job is all about words. I am very much interested in words, and I listened, I heard certain words that really tickled my curiosity even more. I listened to these morning's speakers. I wasn't present in the afternoon yesterday, so I apologize in advance if I'm not referring to the afternoon presentations. But I'd like to sort of sum up the things that have struck me. The first few words that were pronounced in this room were from the American consul, Ms. Perez, who reiterated a concept that had already been clearly spelled out by Ambassador Spogli before he left his office a few months ago. He said that if Italy wants to continue to have good relationships with the U.S., the academic education in Italy should be updated. And he said so with a rather harshly tone. Then we heard Professor Vicentelli saying that students that are migrating to the States are displaying lower degree of knowledge in basic mathematics, basic scientific matters. So this is really an alarm that is being sounded for all of us, for the good of all of us. I think that this is something that really should make us fully aware of the decay, of the demise of education, scientific education in Italy. Talking about the bridge, Marco Marinucci yesterday morning illustrated how the initiative was put together and was designed and set up. It's just a bridge that has got to extract the best out of Italy and out of the US. This is just a bridge to me, but it's a great stimulus. And I wish to stress one thing that really struck me once again in the words of the consul. This is really a stimulus because we run the risk of just sitting still and not making progress as a country. The fact that the broadband was rejected yesterday, so that is another indication of the fact that we are once again backward-looking as a country. But when Emile de Rashid yesterday presented a number of successful companies such as Dada and said that having ideas is important, but the really important thing is implementing those ideas and putting them translating them into practice. Well, you may think that this is reinventing the wheel or rediscovering a pretty obvious concept, but we too who work for publishing companies should always take this into account. I mentioned Dada in passing. Well, the alarm that was sounded yesterday by Paolo Bardelli, the acknowledgement that in the last few years the market of new ideas and their implementation was somehow surrendered to the states. And the possibility that now it is the U.S. capital market that would finance a small Italian company is something that we have to take into account. This is not meant to trigger, you know, a long list of complaints, because normally in the past we would have reacted by saying, okay, the capital market is going down the drain in Italy, so there is no money to finance new initiatives. The country, the government is working against the proliferation of new initiatives, etc. Well, I've just mentioned Paolo Dada, but many other entrepreneurs were sitting here yesterday, and instead of reacting negatively, they said, okay, if this is so, we are the ones who have become successful, so it's up to us to go around and scout for new talents that we may help and finance. So this is an interesting way of reacting to this widespread worries. The U.S. is considered a lot better than us from the academic point of view, because they can produce a larger number of excellent students. Well, I think that in your world that is so different from my traditional world, the world I've been used to living so far, well, your world seems to me less envious, more open-minded, less jealous. So once you are successful, you're not afraid of funding a new, smaller company, which one day may become your competitor. You are not out there to just, defend your turf, so to speak, but you try and broaden up it by including other companies and other successful peers. Another thing that really struck me was Mr. Colombani's comment. He said really many interesting things, and then when we talked in the lobby, he said I should promote a different type of reality show. That's to say, instead of the Island of the Famous Ones, which is a famous reality show in Italy, I should work to try and broadcast the island of the smart ones, the island of the talented, gifted people. Well, why don't we do the same things here in Italy? Well, this too may sound like an obvious comment. Why don't we have the same enthusiasm in Italy as in the U.S.? Well, probably we really don't have that enthusiasm, and I don't know what could actually revive the country from this point of view. When Postino or Prossima Isola showed their slides, Your questions, the questions from the audience, were very pragmatic. How do you think you can compete with larger companies? What are you doing to make your devices or your ideas more user-friendly? Well, I think that this is an upside-down approach as opposed to old Italy. Old Italy, as a country, as a group of people, etc., never wanted to take into account competition. Competition was not a factor, simply because we tried to never navigate in open waters. When we still had the national currency, the lira, the top competitive game that we were very good at playing was competitive devaluation of the currency, so that we could have increased exports. So the fact that here we are instead honestly coming to terms with a fundamental factor such as competition and maybe larger competitors, and the need to come up with something that is immediately understood and liked by users seems to me a pleasant change, a pleasant shift in the focus. Maybe I'm just an outsider, and I have a point of view which I'm not sure you can share. I entered this room as a very doubtful person because I didn't even know what I was about to listen, and I am leaving the room with the very first smile of the day, a day that had started by reading the usual scary news you find in the papers, and instead being closed with a sense of warmth for this new enthusiasm and this ray of sun. Thank you.